Grab your big book, your pen, your highlighter, and notepad and get ready to hear and apply some of the solution from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous through the experience, strength, and hope of Nikki M. To have a question addressed in a future episode of Noodle It Out with Nikki, please send an email to noodlewithnikki@gmail.com, and Nikki is spelled with 2 Ks. To get a more interactive experience with Nikki as she noodles out life and recovery questions using the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, you can get a link to her weekly Noodle It Out with Nikki meeting held live on Zoom every Monday morning at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. The information to that meeting is in the show notes of this podcast. God morning, God afternoon, and God evening to all. My name is Justin B. I am the son of an all-powerful and all-loving God and a qualifying addict of multiple fellowships living in the miracle of recovery, and I'm here with the intelligent agent, spearhead of God's ever-advancing creation, and my co-host, Nikki M. Nikki, come on and say hi. Introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm just so grateful for Justin B. I'm Nikki M., and I'm a spearhead. I'm a child of God. And recently I've decided I'm just not human anymore. I'm just totally in the spirit world. I don't even know what I am. I'm a spirit. I like what you see is matter here on the screen, Justin, and you people just hear a voice, but I am really into this spirit world and I'm grateful for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. Happy to have you here. And just real quick background on RICO 12 and what we do. RICO 12 is a family of recovery resources, and among those are RICO 12 weekly speaker meeting, this Noodle It Out with Nikki M podcast. We also have a weekly podcast where Nikki and David G and I sit around a virtual roundtable and go line by line through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. It's called the Big Book Roundtable. Go check out these different resources, and we're working on a few more resources that we hope will be helpful to many out there. So here's a little bit about Noodled Out with Nikki. We take everyday questions that we may find in there's a WhatsApp group, Noodle It Out with Nikki M, where people bring questions to that and seek big book solutions there. Also in our own lives as we work with and sponsor others, and as we may have questions come up ourselves. Bring these questions to the big book that Nikki will dive through the big book and help us find some solutions to those things. And it's called Noodle It Out with Nikki M. So everybody grab your big book, get a highlighter, a pen, get paper ready to take notes. We're going to get ready to run around and get some solution here. Nikki, the question we're going to address today in this episode of Noodle It Out with Nikki is one that came in through the WhatsApp group, the Noodle It Out with Nikki WhatsApp group. And the question is, and it's a question that I really hoped would be the case when I first came into the rooms. Is it possible to go through the 12 steps without a sponsor? For example, can I do it on my own? Can I just go through these steps on my own? Nikki, what does the book say, and what does your experience, strength, and hope say?
Well, I'm just like, is this comedy hour right now? Like I do. Everybody, just so you know, we're coming out of COVID. If you're listening, we're in, August of 2024. If you're listening in the future years and months ahead, and I lost a big government job, and I do have a little grocery money job that I get, and it's at a comedy club. And this could literally, if you're in 12 step, this could be a comedy club question, like a joke. You could just do it because, let's just open our big book, everybody, before I go on a tangent. Is it possible to work the 12 steps on my own? Well, the forward to the first edition. XIII. The very first word says we. It says we. Now, if you're weird and you want to turn your book upside down and it says me to you, well, you can do that too. You can do all kinds of things you want, but it's not going to work for you. This is an exact recipe. This is an exact instruction book. It is a magic book that will lead you, to freedom. Freedom. And so the very first word is it possible to work the 12 steps on my own? Well, it says we of Alcoholics Anonymous are more than 100 men and women who have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. Seemingly, fake news. Okay, and then the next 2 words says to show. See, you have to show somebody. So I need someone to show, and you need someone to show you how other addicts, alcoholics, people suffering the disease of alcoholism have recovered. And that's what the book is about. See, I love as Justin mentioned at the top at the podcast that Justin, David G and I do a podcast that we go line by line through the big book. And if you ever hear David G, he's like, it's not that you're stupid, new friend. I mean, I've sponsored a priest, a doctor, a lawyer, you name it. They all come through here. Sorry, I've got a frog in my throat. They're not dumb people. I'm not a dumb person. I mean, Justin's not, but my mind is asleep. And as David G says, you need someone to help you differentiate the doctor's opinion, the true from the false. See, your mind is asleep. We need each other. Even Justin and I are coming in here. It's a Monday morning. It's early on. He's on the West Coast of North America. I'm on the East Coast, 3-hour time difference. And by the end of this hour of talking together, we will have more energy. We will have more enthusiasm. We're going to be more pumped up because alone, I'm just going to read this book and I'm not going to this is an energy transfer too. Go deep. Like I just introduced this podcast today as like, I'm not human. Why? Because I'm just energy lately. I want this energy transfer, this new, somewhere in the book, I don't even know the page. It does say energies. This is really radical stuff. So can you work the steps on your own? I would say no, because you can't differentiate the true from the false. Your addict life is your only normal one. Everyone turn to page 94. And why do you need somebody? You need someone because here it is. Page 94 says you need someone to outline the program of action. See, you need someone to do this for you because your addict life is your only normal one. I need to outline this program of action and I need to explain. See, you can't do that on your own. You can't decipher this. Your mind's still asleep. I need to explain, and I need to explain because I need to be reminded, because even though I've been here and Justin's been here for over a decade and myself too, our minds fall right back asleep. So I need to explain so I can have euphoric recall on how this magic book works, explaining how I made a self-appraisal. See, you're not going to know how to make a self-appraisal unless someone explains how to do a step 4 and 5 to you. You are not going to know how to straighten out your past, steps 8 and 9, unless I explain how to you. Because after being here, a sponsor has more clear perception. This is the disease of perception. My self-delusion, remember page 62 says I'm driven by 100 forms of self-delusion. So I can't see, how to straighten out my past, how to do a self-appraisal. I don't know. And then I need you to explain why you are now endeavoring to be helpful. See, I'm telling you can't do this alone because I need to explain to you. Here it is. It's on page 94. We're reading it. It says this. See, it's important for you, the person asking this question, can I do these 12 steps alone? No. Why? It's important for you to realize that your sponsor's attempt to pass this on plays a vital part. You are the new drug. Justin asked me this morning, how was the noodle meeting? We had 155 people on, and I looked in my little phone, my Zoom camera, and I said, the only time I'm truly happy is when I'm serving you people. This is true, Justin. We're tired. I've had people in my house this weekend. A sponsee flew up from Mexico and is staying in my home. He just left this morning with his family. I have my sponsee from New Brunswick. She's repeat stayer in my home because this is a lifestyle, right? She plays a vital part in my recovery. And how am I going to be like, you're in Toronto and then go and spend $300 or $400 or $500 on a hotel room when I've got an empty bedroom? This is my new thinking, my new belief system. It's not even my house, Justin. And if you've been listening and tracking Nikki M along the ways, I've been really obsessed about my house and my neighbors lately. So this just removes it because I'm just in gratitude.
So Nikki,
talk to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a smart aleck here and push back a little bit using some big book verbiage. I think I'm special. I think I'm the exception, and nobody else can get me because I'm just different than everybody else. So I can only do this. And in the big on page 63, it says, "But it is better to meet God alone than with one who might misunderstand." And guess what? I'm so special that everybody's going to misunderstand me. How uh, help me understand that one, Nikki.
Well, I know it says it in here, and you can help me. And I mean, we're both half asleep this morning, but it says in here, like, then go out and try some, different methods of your living, right? Like you need to go out, and if that works for you, I'm always like this. How's that working for you? Page 76 is what's coming to mind right now. Let's me turn there because I can't find the page that says, go out and try. I think it's in Bill's story or it's somewhere. It says, go out and try some controlled thinking, some controlled using, some, all that good stuff. But here it is on page 76 where it says, hey, if you still cling to something, old ideas, old thoughts, old beliefs, and you're not going to let go of them, then you ask God to help you be willing. And it says and then I like to say like that, if you still cling to something, how's that working out for you? Right? Like, give me the pushback. You're terminally unique. Well, I'm sorry. According to this book, it's 1939. A lot of these little asterisks in there when they refer you down to the asterisk that says not written in 1939 or whatever it is. Let's go deeper. All these years later, almost 100 years later, 90 years later, this is proven that this works. So let me know, go out, and it's somewhere in the book. You guys, that's a good exercise for you. Here it is, because it's on page 23. There is the great obsession that somehow, someday they will beat the game. So go and try it. Go and try. Let me know, because I don't want to argue with somebody either, Justin. If you think you can do this on your own, let me know. But again, Justin puts it in the show notes. And I know Justin's tried this method. He works many methods. I only have done this method through a big book sponsorship guide. And in the big book sponsorship guide, we have all the human aids listed for you. So if your terminal uniqueness works for you, go and have another baby. Go and get another pocket dog. Go to another retreat, resort, rehab. Go and get another doctor. Go and get another prescription. Go and get another program. Because you're a Scientologist, you're a Mormon, you're a Rasta, you're a Jew, you're a Muslim, and you're miserable and want to die. So let me know your terminal uniqueness. And again, let me emphasize what it says in the doctor's opinion. And that's why I don't listen to people. If you're ever on Noodle Meeting, I'll cut people off after 2 minutes. A woman, she helped us out today. She shared, but she started telling me about her disease. I stopped her right away, Justin. Page 112, I've read this book. Page 18, I'm armed with the facts about this disease of alcoholism. So you don't need to tell me about yourself, especially a Noodle, because we all come in there with a big book. If you're on a Noodle meeting or on a Noodle chat, you don't have a big book, it's going to be difficult for you to follow along, because this is our Bible. This is our treasure map. We have to have it in our hand. And when we don't have it in our hand, Nikki, and you're in Luxembourg losing your mind because you're away from your book, your fellowship, all the things, and you're just alone in this country with your boyfriend, no one speaks English, what do you have to do? Well, it has to be a working part of your mind, promise on page 87. But we're looking at the doctor's opinion. I think it's XXVIII, where it talks about, see, the sensation is so elusive that while you admit you're thinking, you're drinking, you're scrolling, your food, all your addiction patterns, your obsessive compulsive ways are injurious, you cannot. See, you can't. So you think your terminal uniqueness is just for you, but you can't differentiate the true from the false. So I'm not going to listen to you. And then I'll end the conversation there, Justin, because how long are we going to tell someone I'm laying out? I've told you this, because we'll go right back to page 90. I think it was 96 we were on, where it said, actually, you're helping me, or 94, I think we were on. Yeah, 94. It says, actually, you newcomer, you new friend who think you can do this on your own, you're helping me more than I'm helping you. I just told you, you play a vital part in my recovery. So when you need a sponsee and they think they can do it on their own, and you're begging them, as the book says, and you're urging them, why? I need you. You play a vital part, but you're so damn selfish And then they get all weird. And it's like, well, that's what the book says. I mean, the book, let's go to page 62. The book says you're selfish. The book says I'm selfish, but guess what, new friend? I'm out of it. I want to give away freely. This doesn't cost you anything. So you can either die and complain about your problems, or you can do this work. And then what do? We lay out the kit of spiritual tools at their feet. It's all through the book. There's a whole chapter called Working with Others. That's why you can't do it alone. I mean, this is radical. Take them to the fellowship promises. You need a substitute for your drugs, for your food, for your men, for your phone, for your validation, for your Daniel Steele fantasy addict romance novels, old lady. That's my mom. She loves that stuff. And it's like, you need a substitute for it, Justin. And it says it on page 152. You need a fellowship. That doesn't mean one person. That means we, not me.
No, I love that. And, I still am a stubborn, self-centered, egocentric person so often at the time. And I remember my first sponsor, when I was first working the steps, I had said something similar to this, where, hey, do I have to share this step? Do I have to do step 5 with you? And I can just do this myself, can't I? And he said something to the effect of, well, if you're doing that, you're being your own sponsor. And if you are your own sponsor, you have an idiot for a sponsor and a moron for a sponsee. And I think that was something that really stuck with me. Any thoughts on that, Nikki?
Well, your sponsor is super smart, or your old sponsor. It's true, because you know what? What I just heard on that when you said that is page 58. See, your sponsor at the time, and I'm sure still today, loves you. And rarely have we seen a person fail who thoroughly follows this path. Like those who do not, I need to open my book now because I'll mess up the words, but those who do not, the book says, will not, cannot completely give themselves to this simple program. They're constitutionally incapable of being honest. And there are such unfortunates. They think they know it all. We're asked, go deep here, everybody. Page 55 of this program. And Justin said, like, every day, because Justin's like, Nikki, I'm stubborn. Yeah, every day, Justin. And let me talk to your wife. Every day you're stubborn because you only get a daily reprieve, and then you're in the grip of a progressive illness. So you can really, you can do this and keep all that stubbornness, that sensitivity, that arrogance away by working the program daily. But yeah, you're like, I'm stubborn. I wrote that down as you were saying that. Yeah, you are. And you only get a daily reprieve from that. So you must be here. This is a lifestyle, everyone, because as I just said that, we only get a daily reprieve, but also we're in the grip of a progressive illness. We get worse, never better, like never better. What does that mean? And we see it all the time, Justin. When you're here long enough, you see people go out. I hear it a lot on Noodle. A woman today shared, Nikki, it's my first time on a meeting. I heard you Saturday night. I spoke at some meeting online, and she came out to the Noodle meeting and she said, I was a dry drunk for 13 years. And then she went back out because no one's talking about it. Like, we're always afraid we're going to scare the newcomer. Good. Because the newcomer, I say it all the time, they need to be scared to sit down and stay. We just lost a guy. We lose so many people in Toronto, fentanyl and suicide, like everyone knows. My mother's going to live in my house forever. And I want her to, and I'm enthusiastic for her to do it. But this was not her dream or mine, because her husband was in the grip of a progressive illness, untreated, thinking he could do this on his own. My mom thought she could do it on her own. Like you said, no one, and that's on page, where is it? It's on page 25. It says, almost none of us like the self-searching. No one likes that, Justin. No one likes the leveling of our pride in the confessions. There you said it, because you don't want to tell anybody how you are. No one likes it. None of us liked it. But this is a process. And when you don't do these things, you're like my mom's husband of 25 years. I love Grandpa so much, Justin. He was the grandfather, and you're a grandfather. Babies need grandparents. And he was the grandfather to my daughter for 25 years. He was there when she was like, and my son only knew him. And he took a pistol and blew his head off. He was one of 9 brothers and sisters. He did this before his parents died. Like, this was like the only like, this was a tight family. And I knew what was going on because I know my book, but none of them know, And so you can't do this on your own if you're listening. If you're listening, question was, can I sponsor myself? And that's a big F no. Justin's smiling. Justin, give us your final thoughts, please. See, we got a little energy. You came on here and you're like, Nikki, a little tired. I'm a little tired, but we're both smiling. We're both like, this is why we're here, Mr. Tired and Mrs. Tired. We have to, we can't do it alone.
No, we can't. And that word of advice from my first sponsor, Mark G. I love Mark G. I hated Mark G. I put him all over my step 4 inventory. And as I was sharing it with him, because he forced me to do it with him, at least that's how I saw it in my mind. I made sure that I let him know that he was on my step 4 resentments and harms and all sorts of stuff, and I did that just out of spite to say, I can do this on my own. I'm so glad that he forced me in my mind to see that I couldn't do it on my own. Another thought that, if you're your own sponsor, you have an idiot for a sponsor and a moron for a sponsee, that comes to me as I close this out as a thought. And I think it's Einstein that said this, or some really smart guy said something like this. You cannot solve a problem with the same thinking that brought you into that problem. And it's my mind, it's myself that brought me into the disease of alcoholism, that triggered that disease so that, I became an alcoholic. And my own mind cannot get me out of that. I have to tap into a power much greater than myself and tap into the experience, strength and hope of somebody who has already tapped into that power and has found the solution and the way out. And Nikki, I'm so grateful that you and I could have this conversation. It's woken me up this morning. It's helped me recognize a couple of things that I need to get to set aside some stubbornness in my own life today, thinking that I can do whatever it is that is on my path today on my own. I can't. I need you, Nikki. I need the fellowship. I need my higher power. And that's a beautiful thing. Everybody, if you think you're terminally unique, if you think, oh, but nobody else will get me, think again. You're insane. So am I. Let's work. Let's trudge this path of happy destiny together. Let's commence shoulder to shoulder this work. Keep coming back. Sit all the way down and stay. Work it. You are worth it.